In this video, I use modern AI tools to recreate what daily life looked like for the men and women whose hands built the wonders of ancient Rome between 70 and 120 AD. These scenes are AI-generated interpretations based on historical records, archaeological evidence, and writings from the period. They are designed to help us imagine the atmosphere of that world as closely as possible. Today, we step back not to celebrate emperors or generals, but to remember and honor the forgotten hands that made Rome eternal. This is the story of the slaves who built wonders that still stand after 2,000 years. Their names are lost, but their work still surrounds us every day. The sun rose over the hills outside Rome, casting long shadows across the quarries. Thousands of men moved in steady rhythm, their simple, coarse tunics already dark with sweat even in the early morning light. They were people taken from distant lands: Gauls, Greeks, Africans, Germans, and especially Jewish captives brought after the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Their labor would shape the greatest city the world had ever known. In 72 AD, Emperor Vespasian ordered the construction of a massive amphitheater in the heart of Rome. The project that would become the Colosseum took 8 years to complete, from 72 to 80 AD under Titus, with final touches under Domitian. Historians believe between 60,000 and 100,000 workers, the majority of them slaves, labored on it at different times. They quarried huge blocks of travertine stone 20 miles away in Tivoli, dragged them on wooden sleds pulled by oxen, then lifted them with enormous wooden cranes powered by teams of men turning heavy capstans. The sound of iron chisels striking stone rang out from dawn until dusk. Dust filled the air, coating skin, hair, and lungs. The work was relentless. Days stretched from sunrise to sunset. 10 to 12 hours of constant labor, with only short breaks for water and a simple meal. Their daily food was basic but sustaining: thick barley or wheat porridge called pulse, coarse dark bread, olives, onions, lentils, and whatever vegetables were in season. Occasionally there were scraps of salted fish or meat from the master's table. Water came from nearby aqueducts or was carried in heavy amphorae. It was enough to keep them working, but never abundant. Many suffered from exhaustion, dust-filled lungs, and injuries from falls or crushing stones. When a man fell ill or was hurt, care was minimal. A few days of rest if the overseer allowed it, or basic herbal remedies from fellow slaves. Some recovered. Many did not. Yet they kept building. Every block was cut and placed with extraordinary precision. Every arch was calculated so perfectly that the building has survived earthquakes, fires, and 2 millennia. The slaves who built it left no names on the stones, but their skill speaks across the centuries. Today, when we stand inside the Colosseum and look up at those towering arches, we are standing inside their legacy. The same hands built the great aqueducts that brought fresh water to cities across the empire. Engineers used precise surveying tools called groma to create a gentle slope, sometimes only a few inches per mile, so water would flow by gravity alone. Slaves hauled massive stone blocks up scaffolding, built wooden centering for the arches, and laid the concrete channels lined with waterproof mortar. The Pont du Gard in France, with its 3 tiers of elegant arches soaring 160 feet high, still stands as a testament to their precision. In Spain, the Segovia Aqueduct carries water today with the same stones they placed. In Rome itself, the Aqua Claudia and other lines delivered millions of gallons every day. The work was backbreaking, lifting stones on ropes, mixing pozzolana ash into concrete by hand, climbing scaffolding in the sun or rain. Roman roads were engineered with the same care. Slaves first dug trenches, then laid multiple layers. Large foundation stones, statumen, gravel, rudus, a concrete-like nucleus, and finally tightly fitted basalt paving stones on top. The Appian Way, expanded under the emperors, allowed armies and traders to move swiftly. Parts of it are still used today. The straight lines and durable surface were created by thousands of hands working in the dust and heat. Under Hadrian, slaves helped build the massive frontier wall in Britain, 73 miles long, 15 feet high in places, with forts, mile castles, and turrets. They quarried stone, mixed mortar, and laid the blocks in perfect alignment across hills and valleys. It took about 6 years and required enormous labor. The wall still stands in places, a silent witness to their endurance. Trajan's column rose in the heart of Rome, its massive marble shaft carved from a single block and erected using complex wooden cranes and capstans powered by slave teams. The base alone required hundreds of men to position. At the new harbor of Portus, slaves built enormous concrete breakwaters by sinking wooden cofferdams into the sea, pumping out the water, and pouring pozzolana concrete underwater, an engineering feat that still protects the coast today. The great public baths, with their soaring concrete vaults and hypocaust heating systems, were also raised by slave labor. Workers mixed mortar, laid the brick pillars that allowed hot air to circulate under the floors, and installed the lead pipes for running water. The same hands that quarried marble for the columns built the furnaces that kept the baths warm. On the building sites and in the quarries, life followed a hard rhythm. Workers rose before dawn, ate their porridge by the light of flickering oil lamps, and marched to their tasks. They used iron hammers, chisels, picks, and saws. They turned massive wooden capstans to lift stones weighing several tons. They mixed concrete by hand, pozzolana ash, lime, and aggregate, creating a material so strong it still holds the Pantheon's enormous dome. Living quarters near the sites were basic, crowded barracks called ergastula, often dark and damp, with simple straw mats on the floor. At night, the air carried the sounds of exhausted men resting, the creak of wooden scaffolding, and the distant lowing of oxen. Sickness spread easily in such conditions. Fevers, injuries from scaffolding falls, crushed limbs, breathing problems from stone dust. Yet many endured. Evidence suggests some took quiet pride in their craft. A perfectly cut stone, a perfectly aligned arch. These were small victories in a life of hardship.
Not all their work survives.
The great wooden cranes, the temporary scaffolding, the formwork for concrete domes, the temporary wooden bridges across rivers, all of it disappeared long ago. The deep mine tunnels where slaves extracted iron and marble with oil lamps and iron wedges are mostly collapsed or lost. The open quarries where they hammered wedges into stone to split massive blocks have been reclaimed by nature, but the monuments they left behind remind us of their endurance. We walk through the Colosseum today and feel the scale of what they achieved. We cross Roman bridges and drink from fountains fed by aqueducts they constructed. We drive on roads whose foundations they laid. These are not just stones. They are the legacy of human hands that never asked for thanks, yet gave us something timeless. Historians believe the system was harsh and unforgiving, yet it produced engineering that modern builders still study with admiration. The slaves came from every corner of the empire. They spoke different languages, worshipped different gods, carry different memories of home. Yet, together, they created something greater than themselves. Today, when we stand in the Colosseum at sunset and watch the golden light touch the ancient stones, we can pause and remember. These arches did not rise by magic. They were lifted, one block at a time, by people who worked in the heat and the dust so that Rome could stand. We owe them a quiet moment of gratitude. Their names are lost, but their work endures. Every time a tourist takes a photo, every time a scholar studies the engineering, every time we marvel at how something so old can still feel alive, we are honoring the forgotten hands. The children who grew up in the shadow of these monuments never knew the names of the builders, but they walked on their roads and drank their water. We are those children, 2,000 years later. So today we say thank you. Thank you to the men and women whose labor built Rome. Your strength, your skill, and your endurance created wonders that have outlasted empires. We remember you, we honor you, and we walk more humbly because of the ground you laid beneath our feet. What monument built by unknown hands moves you the most? Have you ever stood in the Colosseum or crossed a Roman bridge and felt the weight of the lives behind it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining this journey into the past, and for taking a moment to remember those whose hands shaped our world.